This is the minimum commitment, film theory in small doses, where the Force isn't just something you lift rocks with, it's something you redefine. I'm Don Lawler, film scholar, sound Jedi, and someone who believes failure is part of the story, not the end of it. Let's get into it. The Last Jedi made people angry, which, honestly, might be the point. Because this isn't a film about satisfying the myth. It's about interrogating it, tearing it apart, and rebuilding something better. Through the lens of feminist film theory, The Last Jedi is more than a sequel. It's a quiet rebellion against the way Star Wars usually works. This is a movie that decenters men. Luke is broken, haunted. He's a legend who no longer believes in legends. Finn just wants to save the people he cares about. He isn't chasing glory, he's looking for a reason to stay. Poe Dameron thinks heroism is about blowing things up, running in guns blazing, proving yourself. And the film tells him again and again that this version of masculinity is not leadership. It's recklessness. Leia slaps him, Holdo outmaneuvers him, and neither raises their voice. That's the first shift. Real power doesn't bark orders. It doesn't need to fill the room to be felt. In The Last Jedi, the ones making the most noise are the ones most afraid of silence. Rey doesn't want to be a Skywalker. She doesn't want to be chosen. She just wants answers. But The Last Jedi offers none. Her parents are nobody. Her bloodline, irrelevant. And that's revolutionary. Star Wars has always been about lineage, destiny, and inherited power. Rey breaks that chain. She chooses her worth. She isn't anointed, she's self-made. Let's stop on one moment. Holdo's silent hyperspace strike. No words, no music, just light and rupture. This isn't the act of a brash hero, it's sacrifice. It's leadership on her terms. And for a brief second, it's the quietest moment in the saga, and one of the loudest. Silence in this scene isn't peace. It's consequence. It's what follows when there's no other option left. Holdo doesn't leave behind a final speech. She leaves behind an empty chair, a flash across the stars, and a silence that says more than any command ever could. Luke's story is about failure and what you do after it. He tried to train the next generation of Jedi and failed. So he disappeared, closed himself off from the Force. Rey challenges him. Yoda reminds him who he used to be, and Luke returns, quietly, deliberately. Not to strike down the enemy, but to hold their attention. He appears not as a force of destruction, but as a symbol, a story the galaxy still needs to believe in. It's not power that turns the tide, it's presence. Calm, steady, impossible to ignore. He doesn't fight, he buys time. He becomes the myth they hoped he was. Not the return of a warrior, it's the final act of a teacher, reminding us that legends endure because they give us something worth following. And that's the heart of The Last Jedi. Legends aren't built on victory, they're built on what we choose to stand for when everyone's watching. Feminist film theory often critiques how stories center male saviors. The Last Jedi cracks that idea wide open. Rey's power is hers. Leia leads through listening. Holdo through planning. Rose through compassion. These women aren't sidekicks. They aren't love interests. They don't serve a male arc. They hold the story together. And that's where the shift happens. The Last Jedi asks, what if the Force doesn't belong to bloodlines, but to everyone? The Last Jedi is messy. It's bold and unresolved. It breaks patterns because it wants to build new ones. And in doing so, it proves that even broken myths can still draw blood. That's your thought for the day. Minimum commitment, maximum meaning. See you next time. The Minimum Commitment is produced, recorded, and edited by Don Lawler. Music by Art Against Agony.